Hey everybody, it's Mike. So the title of this video is Victims Never Fully Recover. And if you're watching this channel is devoted to non-borderlines who have been or are currently in a romantic relationship with people who suffer from the mental illness of borderline personality disorder. And I created this channel for my own healing. And to my surprise and my delight, this channel is really starting to pick up and take off. So I've decided to put some time and effort into this channel. And so where I get a lot of my ideas for videos I'm making now comes a lot from your interactions with me on the channel. So please feel free to leave comments and questions. Bear in mind, if I have an opinion about something that you've said, even if it's an opinion that I disagree with, if I think you're operating from a mindset that is ultimately unhelpful for you, if I think you're in denial, if I think that you're passive aggressive, or just simply unaware or uneducated of, how this whole thing, this recovery thing works, at least from my opinion and my perspective, I'm going to share that with you. And so feel free to leave comments and questions, and bear in mind, whatever comment you leave is for the whole world, and I will respond. I'll try to do it as lovingly and as constructively as possible. Okay, so having said that, there is a comment that I do want to get to here. But before I do, I've had an experience with a borderline. I was in a romantic relationship with a woman who had borderline personality disorder. It only lasted for some months, but if you've been with somebody who's got really bad borderline, you know that is an eternity. It can be. Thankfully, I was able to be extricated from that, partially because of her illness, but it was instigated by me setting down boundaries. So I'd like to take full credit, but the truth is that she has part of the credit, because she finally, put the nail in the coffin, and then I closed the door behind it. So that was a very unusual experience. And the reason why this is such an unusual experience is because even though I grew up in an alcoholic family, my father was an alcoholic, my mother was, extremely codependent, overprotective, and possibly had borderline tendencies. I had a very abusive older brother who used to psychologically, verbally, and physically, make life very challenging for me as a little kid. Even all of that happened. I have my own 12-step recovery, which is anonymous, so I won't bring it up here. But I've been doing that, really facing myself and doing everything in my power to take full responsibility for my life, for my issues. At the same time, admitting, when I am powerless over certain things within myself. Finding that balance can be challenging. And as a result, my life over the years, very slowly, over almost 40 years of recovery, has really come together in a lot of ways. And now I'm quite strong in a lot of ways. And, I see problems coming from a mile away when it comes to other people. So it was very unusual that I got pulled into a relationship with someone who had the illness of borderline personality disorder. The point I'm trying to make, which I'm not getting to very quickly, is that I'm not that much of a victim. And I've, one of the things that I credit to that is that I've been in group therapy for probably 20 years. And the great thing about group therapy, if it's done right, is that when people in group, ideally, as I understand it, will reflect back to you how you are affecting them. So it gets you out of your narcissism, and you start to learn how your behavior, your actions, your words, how it hits them, what they intuit from you, what feelings are induced, all of that. And so I had people, very, very challenging. Every week it was very challenging because they would reflect back to me, a lot of my anger and a lot of my victim mentality and a lot of stuff like that. So those of you who are from my other channel, don't think that I haven't had my share of, what I dish out to people over there. Some harsh truth. So what I've learned is that victims don't fully recover. And so I don't co-sign people's victim mentality. And of course, a lot of times people don't like that. So I'm going to continue to do that here. If you choose to, you're welcome to stay and listen. If not, there are plenty of other places to go. And I wish you all the best. So one of the things that I've always found interesting, well, where I was going to go with that long introduction is that if it weren't for the fact that this channel seems to be really taking off and it seems to be providing a real service to people, seemingly both to non-borderlines and borderlines, I don't understand that, but I'm grateful and pleasantly surprised that I'm helping people who have borderline personality disorder also. But I wouldn't have continued with this channel because what ended up happening is that I started this channel for my own healing and my own growth and my own recovery. And I started to get that. I did all the work. I, talked to my therapist. I got a sponsor and worked a fourth step on my issues with my, my borderline ex. And, I took responsibility. I did the things I knew how to do. And then I found myself very quickly in a state of recovery, a full turnaround. And to be honest, I started to forget. It started to become what it really was, which was a short relationship that only lasted a few months. And since I dealt with the wound within me that pulled me into it, and when I addressed the wounds that were created as a result of me choosing to be in that relationship, when I addressed them and healed them, the relationship literally started to drift away in my mind and I started to forget about it. I don't think I was in denial. If you were to ask me about it, I would have gone, oh yeah, that was really awful. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. But I really have no ill will towards her whatsoever. I don't carry around any pain. When I think about her and I think about what happened, I have a lot of sympathy because now I can really see I was with somebody who was really damaged. Because of my own need and my own codependence, I wasn't able to see how damaged she was. But now that my need, whatever, delusion I had is gone and it's not replaced with anger and she did this to me. It's like, wow, I feel really, sorry for, pitying somebody, but I feel really bad. I'm sad that she has to live with that horrific mental illness and whatever she went through. And I know she went through just horrific things. So I don't judge her in any way. And I think about what I would say if she were to contact me, which I've done everything in my power to make sure that won't happen. I don't even think she knows where I live. I have no idea if she's even thinking about me. More than likely, she's probably moved on, and there's probably been two or three other bodies that are thrown on the heap. I don't think that she's thinking about me. But if she were to contact me, and I can't even imagine what would make me want to have any real connection with her. There's just nothing there because now I know what I'm dealing with. And it's not attractive. It's not appealing to me. And that tells me that I've reached a state of healing. And it's not coming from anger, like I said. It's not, she's just evil. And that shows that, I've talked about that, but when you say those of you listening, those of you who say that you're borderline X, when you say they're evil and she was evil and she knew what she was doing, what's really going on is that on an unconscious level, you want them back. I know you don't think that, but it's the case, because if you see them as choosing to harm you and having the ability to not have harmed you and to decide to change and be different, it means that you want them back. It means that you want them to apologize and take you back and give you the love you wanted. Otherwise, you wouldn't be angry. Because here's the thing. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is apathy. When you have apathy, it means you don't care. I don't care what that person does. I don't care if they live or die. I don't care if they like me or don't like me. I just don't care. That's the opposite of love. So if you're angry and they did this to you and they did that to you and she knew what she was doing and she planned it out, whether that's true or not is irrelevant. The fact that you're still angry means that you're still in denial and you still are holding them to the standards of a rational, healthy person. If a rational, healthy person consciously does that, they are evil. If somebody is mentally ill and they don't operate on the level that you think they are, and they are like there are things broken inside of them and they operate in ways that are not normal and rational and healthy, then that's not something they've chosen to do. It means they have a mental illness that they have little control over. And when you can see that and see that you yourself were deluded the whole time from the get-go, and that you were driving yourself into it with your own delusion, then when you see that and heal that within yourself and heal what was driving your delusion, your desperation, when you get that healing, then you can see them for what they are and you can have pity on them and you don't walk around with any pain. So I've accomplished that in this area. And so I've decided to stay on this channel because as I'm hearing, whatever it is I'm doing on here seems to be helping people, so I'm going to keep doing it. I seem to be providing a niche that other people don't. I'm not a therapist. There's no shortage of therapists on YouTube talking about borderline personality disorder and codependence. So if that continues to be the case, as long as there is a demand, I will continue to be sharing my understanding on this channel. All right, so having said that, let's get to, I'm desperately trying to get to the point here. Victims do not fully recover. And one of the things that I don't understand is I don't understand YouTube videos that are completely devoted to relationships with narcissists. I don't understand that. I understand this channel because I can understand what it's like to be with a borderline and the damage that they cause, and the specific brand of codependence that seeks that out. So maybe it's just, ooh, there's a rainbow. Look at that. Cool. I don't understand the whole narcissist thing. Perhaps it's because I have such a dominant personality and because probably I have, maybe I lean more towards narcissist than doormat. Perhaps that's it. I don't know. I tend to be very outspoken and I'm definitely the last person you want to mess with. So maybe I'm just not a prime target for them. I do not do well with people who rage. The reason why it worked between me and my borderline ex is because she was a quiet borderline and she didn't rage. Had she raged, it would have been over immediately. The first time she raged at me, I would have said, we're done. I don't do this. So that's probably why it worked. Maybe that's why I'm not susceptible to those kinds of abusive narcissists. Having said that, I don't understand, because to me, when I go on to those channels and there's just video after video after video of somebody saying, what to tell the narcissist, how to disarm a narcissist, and here what to look out for, how narcissists abuse you, and when they discard you, and when they love bomb you, and when they hoover you, because narcissists do a lot of the same things that borderlines do, because they share a same core broken issue inside. In fact, people have said that borderlines are vulnerable narcissists, meaning that they suffer from the same thing, but they don't have the same self-defense mechanisms that narcissists have, which allow them to just put up that shield wall, and they don't have that, but they still are very narcissistic. And so they're called vulnerable narcissists. And that's, they both, borderlines and narcissists, both lack empathy when they're discarding you, or even when they're love bombing you. They lack empathy. And that's because there's something broken there. But whenever I go onto those channels and I listen to somebody, in my experience so far, it's usually a woman. Because as I understand it, most borderlines are women, and there are more men are more. If I heard it right, percentage-wise, there are more male narcissists than female. So you might even have that. The male aspect of that creates narcissists, and the female aspect creates borderlines. I could totally be wrong. It's okay if I am. But I'm trying to say maybe that's why I don't understand that. But whenever I see all those videos, how to avoid a narcissist, here's what the narcissist tells you, 5 things you need to know about narcissists. Here's how to shut down a narcissist. Here's why the narcissist, can't let you go. My thought is, to almost all those videos, the answer is just leave. Why do you need to have a strategy to shut down a narcissist or argue with a narcissist? Just leave. I mean, unless you're a child that has to live with a narcissist parent, once you become 18, get the hell out. Just go. To me, it's just really simple. So how people can be 30, 40, 50 years old and still be talking about the narcissist in their life, I don't get it. I wouldn't put up with it. I would leave. That's just me. So I don't get that. So that part of, and I hear the victim mentality, and it's just like, why do you want to just talk about what these narcissists are doing to you just who cares? It's like, it's like when the dog craps on the floor and the smell of the dog crap is going all, it's like sitting there down and drinking coffee and talking about, oh my God, the smell. And when your dog's about to take a crap, like, look, he's about to take a crap right now. He's hunching over. That's how you know a dog's going to crap on them. And then the smell, and it's been, oh my God, the smell's horrible. It's been there for weeks, and now the flies, and it's getting, clean it up. Do something about it. How to avoid the narcissist trap? How do you end up with multiple narcissists in your life? How is it that one wasn't enough for you? Now, having said that, it's because I don't understand. Because I don't have that, I'm not vulnerable to that. God help the narcissist that comes into my world. I'm the last guy you want to try and play that game with, which is why they don't come into my world. A cute, sexy, little quiet borderline, that's a different story. That allows me to be the tough guy, the man, and I get to save you and be the Superman and the hero and oh my God, and all that. That's my thing. So having said that, I was going to make a whole video based on a comment, but this video is kind of wrapping up in its whole thing. So I'll do another part 2 of this. But video part 1 is the truth is, we can choose. We can choose at any point in time not to engage. with whomever, whether it's a narcissist or a borderline or another codependent. We can choose not to engage whenever we choose. It may be challenging. Your impulse, you might be overwhelmed by an impulse to do something different, to stay with them, to turn around or try and make it work. But the truth is, at any point in time, we can leave. You could have left your borderline at any point. You know, when I listen to people talk about, yeah, well, you know, you only had it for a few months. Well, try 10 years. No, I have no interest. No, why would I want to do that? Try having 3 kids with one. No. Why would I want to do that? Why would I want to have 1 kid with an untreated borderline? None of that sounds like any fun to me at all. And, you know, when you come and you want to use that as an excuse to say why, you know, you don't understand and, you know, I had to take care of her and we had a kid. Well, nobody forced you to have unprotected sex. That was a choice that you made. You chose to have unprotected sex with a borderline or whatever you thought she was. And there's no doubt in my mind, unless it was a one-night stand, which more than likely it wasn't, unless it was a one-night stand, which even then, what the hell is your problem? There's somebody you don't know and you're having unprotected sex with somebody you don't know. I mean, that's the most unconscious scream for, can I screw up my life now? Right? So there's no way that you're going to explain it to me that's going to make me think that you're an innocent victim. The only thing that you're a victim of is that something happened to you when you were a kid. You were not responsible for that, which trained you and programmed you and broke you in certain ways. And you learned some unconscious, self-destructive ways to survive a really intolerable situation as a kid. But once you started becoming an adult, the real world, the outside world, started treating you in a different way. And you could have at any time chosen to follow, you know, the path that would take you towards self-empowerment. Most of us don't do that. That's okay. We only know what we know. But the truth of the matter is the universe provided you with the opportunity, the resources and the means to change. So those of you who want to try and tell me that you're not codependent because you're super strong, and then you go on to say, it's not that I'm codependent, it's just that I really cared for this person and they had problems and it was my job to fix them. I'm like, so you really don't understand what codependence is, do you? The very thing that you use to talk me out of being a codependent is actually the definition of codependence. And so, you know, point is that, point of this video again, victims don't fully recover. The only way that I know how to recover is through hard work, using the tools that I know that have been made available to me, which is 12-step groups, you know, Al-Anon, CODA, those kinds of groups that are you know, children of alcoholics. Those kinds of groups are to help different types of codependents get their sense of self back. And the other one is therapy. The two of them together. If I were to put a third one in, it would be spiritual practice, meditation. That is an unbeatable, like, triad. Therapy, 12-step work, and some type of spiritual practice like meditation or Tai Chi or I don't give a crap, you know, Catholic Mass. I honestly don't care. Something that you are connecting with some spiritual force as you understand it. I don't care if it's the Goodyear blimp or if it's Quetzalcoatl. Whatever works for you. Those 3 things, in my experience, but you got to work at it. You know, you want to become Mr. Olympia, you got to go to the gym 5-6 days a week and you got to train your ass off and you got to eat right. You're not going to become Mr. Olympia if you don't work at it. You have an uphill battle. If you are suffering from codependence or borderline personality disorder or anything else, you have an uphill battle because all of the, you know, the inertia is pushing towards you staying sick. And your impulse is to be a victim. That's a normal human thing. It's the easier thing to do. But if you want to recover, you're going to have to put effort into taking full responsibility for you, for your feelings, for your desires, for your actions. You're going to have to do that, in my experience, with this three-pronged approach. If you do that and you stay absolutely ruthless with yourself about wanting to take full responsibility, then there will come a time where you get to stand on stage with all the other bodybuilders and you can show off all the muscles you've built. You've got to build up those coping, and health muscles. You got to build them up. And it's only going to come through work. So anytime you find yourself wanting to indulge in being a victim, remember that. Now, that isn't the same as being honest about your pain and being honest about your trauma and mourning over what you didn't get. Crying and mourning over what you didn't get as a little kid, or crying and mourning over, the relationship that you tried to create that your borderline refused to participate in. That's not the same as being a victim. That's being honest. That's admitting your powerlessness. And there you can go and find people in, like group therapy or in 12-step groups. You can find people who will listen to you, meet you where you're at. If you start to dip into feeling sorry for yourself, they'll pull you back and say, focus on the feelings, and then you can recover. But it will never come if you continue to stay a victim. And I'll stay on this channel, and if it's helpful, I'll keep talking about it, because that's how I recovered. I just used that in the past tense, but that's why I am in a state of recovery, because of those three things, and I keep doing those things. That has not stopped. Okay? So just remember, victims never fully recover. And so drop the, you don't have to carry your cross anymore. You can drop it and move on. All right, that's it. Talk to you guys later. Oh, by the way, the little baby is crying because you haven't subscribed yet. So if you want to keep the little borderline baby from splitting on you, go ahead and just very gently mouse over her little crying face and then tell her it's okay, I'm going to subscribe, and then she'll stop crying. Okay, that's it. Talk to you later.